All right, welcome everyone to another exciting Saturday Cup of Joe. I hope you guys are doing well out there. I know last week we had a lot of technical difficulties with links and whatever nature and the Google, I guess, gods, but it happens. And so I just wanted to say thank you for joining in last week and continue not to give up on your links and all that. So, guys, I want to know if you've had a fabulous week. I have, of course, I've kind of lazy this week. I've cooked all week long. I don't know what was going on. I had recipes after recipes after recipes. I just couldn't stop. So today is my last day of cooking. I'm going to get busy next week. I did make a lot of calls. I did answer a lot of calls. So I worked a little bit. So I'm not going to lie. I worked a little bit. Today, we have a very, very special guest, and I'm getting a lot of doo-dooms. That means my Facebook group is talking and something's going on here. So there's probably some people going, hey, what is that? What's going on? Can't get the link. Or I've sent you an email just in case you're having issues coming on. So I just want to let you know, just go check out your emails, and everything should be there. All right. So with that being said, I want to introduce to you today a very, very exciting guest. She's amazing. I wish we could have had her on like 5 minutes ago. You guys would have loved what we were talking about, but
that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show. It is. Let's see here. One thing I do want to tell you, if you have questions, please go to the chat group, and we will get started from there. So with that being said, I want to bring on Nancy Roberts. She's an amazing trainer. She teaches entrepreneurs how to close, and this is a topic that some of us really need. Now, I myself know how to close, but you know what? You don't know what you know. And today we're going to bring on this lovely lady. There you are. How you doing today?
Hey, Lam. I'm good.
Doing good. Great, great, great. So I'm getting a lot of buzz here. We cannot see her. She is not there. Only her voice. Really?
I am here. I really am.
You are there. I see you just fine. That's weird. Huh. That is because you're live right here in front of me. I mean, if you're on Periscope, you can see her. She's right there, So anyway,
I'm not a pigment.
Yeah, I guess you're just invisible. That's how powerful you are. You're so nice and powerful. They can't see you. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep the show rolling, and I have sent out different links, guys. There's links in the Cup of Joe group if you can't see her. Oh, now they see you. Never mind. All right, she arrived. Okay, I knew something was going on. So let's get started, because I know you're in the middle of a training right now, and she's a superstar, guys. She trains entrepreneurs. She's in the middle of a training. Her business partner is handling the other part, and she's like here, and she's like, I got to go, Lim, after this. So we're not going to waste any time. How are you doing today, Nancy?
I'm fantastic. I'm even better now.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, let me ask you this. Where are you calling from?
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that again? And she got stuck. And maybe her stream will unstick herself. You see, this is why we need to come up with better solutions when we're doing stuff online. You know what I mean?
Your stream got stuck right after I said Rochester, New York. And I thought, how bad is Rochester, New York that you just stopped talking? Like,
I know, right? Rochester, New York. And I'm like, huh? New York. Like I mentioned to you the other day, I'll be heading that way real soon. For those guys in that area, I will be in New York, and from the 30th to, I think, the 2nd or 3rd of August or something like that. So that would be interesting. Good, good, good. So let's talk about you teaching entrepreneurs. How'd you get into this? What made you, come to that conclusion that I can do this? You put on that that S on your chest, and you were ready to go. What made you do this?
Well, about 13 years ago, I got fired from my dream job. Ooh. And so like any young professional who knows nothing, I decided to start my own business.
Right.
And I did a consulting business for 7 years. and I really struggled in the first 3 years because I had no idea how to sell. But after racking up $60,000 in credit card debt, I finally turned that business around, made it a 6-figure business. But the 7-year point, I went, well, I'm not working with who I really want to work with. I didn't want to work with companies anymore. I just had to start with a solo entrepreneur who was like I was back at the beginning of my business.
$60,000 in debt.
Yeah, don't ask me how that happens. Everybody always wants to know how $60,000 in debt. That's how you do it. You don't look at your credit card statement. That's how you do it.
Right. And you just keep going. It's going to work. It's going to work. And that sounds like my wife. When we're going shopping, she's slicing and dicing.
It's going to work.
I'm just looking at her like I'm the enemy, you know. And I keep saying, it's going to work. So I get it.
It's going to work.
That's amazing. So, you know, you had your dream job and it was gone. So you had to make a decision. Okay. Dream job is gone. Now I need to do something. There was that moment in life, you know?
Yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. Speaking about, you know, you need to learn how to sell, and let's just move forward a little bit because there's a lot of us on here who goes after, you know, big markets, small markets, and we try to sell online as well, you know. If you are trying to, let's just say you're going to, you know, approach a company, what is the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to selling?
Well, I can tell you the number one mistake I was making. I am a natural extrovert and I love to talk. So I was talking way too much. I thought that somehow the sales conversation was going to go well if I was presenting my services and convincing them why they needed to hire me. I learned really quickly. Actually, I didn't learn quickly. It took me 3 years.
I ain't gonna lie today.
I took the slow track.
Right.
I finally realized, and it would happen when I would leave their office and I'd go back to write a proposal. And I would realize I didn't know anything about the problem.
Right.
And I'd sit there and try and write this amazing proposal to get me the business. And I couldn't write it because I hadn't dug into their problem enough. So over time, what I learned was I was not asking enough questions. I wasn't having the prospect speak enough about their problem.
Right.
So that I understood it well enough. Because here's the thing, people don't hire you for your solution. They hire you because you understand their problem.
Right.
And that's something I had to learn to dig in enough with questions and stop talking. I mean, if you're talking more than 20%, you're talking too much. The only way around that is to ask questions.
You know, that's a very important point there, because I remember in the beginning when I would go and sit next to the business office. Let's just say you're the business owner, and I just step up. Hey, my name is Lemmy Moore. I got this great thing for you. I'm going to do this for you, and I know this because you're not doing this, and I know that you are missing out on this, and I can help you. I'm your savior. And they're like, get the heck out of my office, dude.
No. Or they say, call me in 3 months, or I can't afford that, or wait, I have to ask my spouse.
Yeah, I have to get
vice president.
Yeah, exactly. And I did that for the longest. You know, I had no problems picking up the phone, calling, and trying to set an appointment. But once I got there at the appointment, I blew it. I didn't realize that for a long time. I thought, why am I not closing any sales? It's because I never, ever dug into their problem and understood what they had going on. You know, sometimes you can find out from a business owner what he's lacking if you just shut the heck up.
Can I share a story with you?
Oh, please. This is your time to shine. Come on.
So I was selling, what I used to sell was a hiring system that would help companies hire the right people.
Right.
I was talking to the CEO. She was a woman who had taken over a family-owned business. And I was talking to her about hiring her next general manager. She had had a general manager turnover 7 times in 3 years, or 3 times in 7 years, or something like that.
Wow.
And so my solution was $5,000. And then some. And she was hemming and hawing whether she should do this or not. And she's been telling me about her problem in terms of what it was doing to the leadership team, what it was doing to the customers, what it was doing to the organization. But I just wasn't hearing any emotion in her voice.
Right.
It was just all like, technical and logical. And so I finally asked her, I said, what is this doing to you personally? And she said, well, when I don't have a reliable general manager, I'm the one that ends up in the plant at night. I'm the one that gets called in on the weekend. I said, well, what's that like for you? Notice I'm not talking. I'm just asking questions.
Right.
And she said this. She said, if I miss my 8-month-old daughter taking her first step, I won't forgive myself.
Oh.
And this is when she got emotional. Like I heard it, her voice catch. And I realized that's her pain.
Right.
Her pain is that she's not home with her kids. It's not that the leadership team can't function, general manager left. So it was like as soon as I knew her real pain, then I said to her, so is it worth $5,000 in doing this process in order to see your daughter take her first step? Right. And her response was, I don't even know why I'm considering this. Let's do it.
Wow. That's beautiful to hear. I remember a conversation, one of my business partners was telling me how he sat with a person and he was like, they fell into tears, man. I was like, they cried? He's like, yeah. And he said, after that, I was out the door with a check. I was like, you got a check? He's like, yeah.
It's true. There's something called, and I don't want people to think this is like a manipulation technique, because we do get that question, but there's this thing called emotional leverage. Emotional leverage in a sales conversation. And what that means is if you haven't asked enough questions to get the prospect to have the motivation to solve it, like they have to be very aware of their motivation to solve it, you will likely not get the business if you're charging what you're worth. Now you can charge low level, prices and things like that and walk away with business. But when you're charging what you should be charging, you need to have the right conversation. And that means that person has to show some sort of emotion about their problem. And I don't care if it's anger, frustration, pain, a deep sigh, if they roll their eyes, if they have nervous laughter, if they shift in their, I don't care what it is. I want to see a response to know I've nailed it. That's the pain. And that's the pain they're willing to solve.
Nervous laughter. You know what? My wife says I have that sometimes because she'll ask me a very important question that I want to avoid. And it's funny because I usually say no to everything because I know there's a reason behind it. Like, for example, last week she goes, hey, would you like to go check out this new school for a little man for junior high? And I was like, for junior high, he's in the 5th grade. And she was like, yeah, I know, but do you want to go and check it out? And I thought to myself, no, but I said yes anyway. Well, come to find out, this new junior high was very far away, and we looked at a house before we got to the junior high. Nervous laughter. I get it, I totally get that. So let me ask you this, and that's great information, and thank you. And before I go there, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on Periscope, Meerkat, and Saturday Cup of Joe. You guys are awesome. We have questions inside of Saturday Cup of Joe group. If you want to give Nancy some, we'd like to thank you guys for joining us. Right now, we're talking about the psychology of closing people, getting inside of the person that you're trying to, sell to, getting inside of their head. And this is important because I have messed this up for years, and even Nancy owned up to it. You got to love a woman who owns up to what she said. She's like, I messed up for a while, and then I figured it out. So that's good. We're on the same level here. But let me ask you this. Since you get with these guys, you got the appointment, you're meeting with them, how do you build rapport either before or you get to that meeting with these potential customers?
That's a great question. So I think that sometimes why people that make that mistake of talking too much is because they think that through talking, that's how they're going to build rapport.
Right.
And that's part of it. But you actually can build rapport a lot through questions. Because when you're asking someone really insightful questions and they're getting to share and they're feeling heard, there is no better way to build rapport than that. So one, it's staying focused on questions and getting them to open up and share their story. the second way is more of what I used to do in my Disc Wizard business, which was observing the person and determining what behavioral style they had. So if you've ever heard of the behavioral tool DISC, D-I-S-C, there's 4 main behavioral types. And if you can identify which one they are and then know how to adapt yourself, that's how you build rapport. Because you know the golden rule? Most people know the golden rule, right?
Hey, you can't assume that everyone knows the golden rule.
Right.
What's the golden rule?
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So we were all taught that, which is a great way to live your life. It's not a great way to sell.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So in sales, you have to apply something else. I've heard it called the platinum rule before, which is do unto others as they want done unto them.
Nice.
You have to recognize what works for them, and then you have to adapt yourself as the seller.
Right. So what's the mentality you should have when you're approaching these business owners or whoever it is you're trying to sell to them? What should your mind frame be like? You know, some of us have that little, I know I have something awesome for them, but what should we really be thinking about when we're about to approach and have a meeting with someone? You know, because this go way back. You know how you had that one love in your life. You knew she kind of digged you, but you didn't really know if she was going to take you on very well. And back in the day, I'm like, I'm Frankie Moore's son. I can do this. You know what I mean? But what is that mentality you should really have when you're trying to, you know, approach a business owner in their business?
Well, what I would do in dating would be different. But again, a topic for another.
That's another show, right?
I think and this is the hardest thing for me to do in the beginning of my business because I was in scarcity mode. I mean, I needed the business. I needed that next sale.
Right.
So it's hard when you're in that position to come from a place of service, but honestly, that's the best frame of mind to be in.
Right.
To be in a place of service. Not that you don't want the business or the customer or the sale, but I think you need to serve them in the sales conversation and serve them. Sometimes it's just getting them to be clear about their problem is the service. I had a sales call 2 days ago with a woman who could have been a potential prospect for us, could have been a client.
Right.
But when I really dug into her problem, I found out that what she needed was not our services. And so I gave her everything I could give her. I gave her the next person she should talk to. I told her, you know, what program we did have that could help her down the road, but that it wasn't the right time for it. Like,
right.
I just was in service mode because to me, that's the way you should approach every sales conversation. Now, sometimes the service is your solution. Like that is how you can best serve someone.
Right. You know, that's true because, you know, sometimes you can't help them, but, you know, you might have someone who is actually that can do, you know, that certain service for them, which is good referral to you because they see that you actually know your stuff. You know people, you have connections, and later on down the road, they might just call you back for something, you know? So that's a great point there. Wow. Yeah. Excellent.
And there's definitely a place in her business where she'll need what we do. She'll need more sales training, but that's not what she needed right now. There was something else specific she needed. So I think if you go in with service, so that's one thing. Go in service, you know, service mindset, but also you need to have as many sales conversations going at once as you possibly can. Because in the beginning of my business, I would have like one sales conversation and I needed that proposal. Like I needed that contract. So you're in an era of desperation. It's going to show in your energy. You're going to lower your price if they give you any pushback because you need the business so desperately. So I say you got to ramp up your activity and have so many sales conversations going that all your energy isn't just on this one.
Awesome. Awesome. So for those out there where they're wondering, who are we talking to? This is Nancy Roberts. She's a superstar expert, entrepreneur trainer. She teaches everyone how to sell, how to get you in the right mind frame, how to get you to get that sale. And, you know, there's a psychologist to selling, you know, and there are certain behaviors that you have to go by. And speaking of behaviors, what are the four behavior styles that you can tell us about there, Nancy?
Okay, so first I want to clarify one thing. I hate selling. do. I really do. I hate selling. At least I hate selling the way that I think people think sales needs to be. Like high pressure, convincing, you know, persuading, pushing people to buy from you. I hated that. And in my first business, it took me 5 years to get past the 6-figure mark in a consulting business that should have been really, really profitable much faster. But in my second business, the coaching business that I started with my business partner, we grew our business to over 400,000 in just 3 years.
Whoa!
Yeah, I learned a lot and took the fast track. But one of the main things we learned was the selling system that made us both feel more authentic. Instead of feeling like we had to be someone we weren't, or, you know, have that awkward conversation where you're trying to push someone into something they don't want to do, we learned a way to sell that to me is as natural as having a coaching conversation with somebody.
Right.
So I just wanted to say that. Sometimes when people say teach sales, a natural salesperson and she loves sales, and it's just not true. I really don't. But if you're going to be a business owner, you better find a way to fall in love with sales real quick. Okay, so back to your question, the 4 behavioral styles, the D, I, S, and C that I pay attention to. The D is a dominant personality. That's somebody who's very bold, very aggressive, tells it like it is, puts it out there. They're impatient, they're goal-oriented, they want a result. If you remember nothing else about high dominant, just remember they're results-oriented. The high I is an influential person. They're very people-oriented, they're friendly, they're chatty, they're charming. I think, Len, you might be a high I. They laugh a lot. We always call them the cheerleaders, right? They're very optimistic, enthusiastic. Oh, you can do. I can do it. I can do it. The high S person is steady, and they're very calm. Even though they're people-oriented, like relationships are really important to them, they're very calm, stable, very dependable, very loyal. I always tell people they make amazing friends and amazing employees. You want to hire high S's for sure.
Right.
And then the C stands for compliant. And that person is more introverted, task-oriented, very analytical, very logical. They're great with the details. To me, in a business, they're like the anchor of reality because they're very objective. They don't get caught up in the dreams. They want to see the data and the numbers.
Right.
So depending on who you're in front of, you can see how vastly they're different. You've got to adapt yourself for each of those.
Nice. Wow.
Good luck with that. I gotta run. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there you go. She's like, well, I'm done. Thank you very much for having me on here. So I guess you know, what's give us like a tip for, you know, influencing those styles you're talking about here.
Okay. So each one of those styles wants something different.
Right.
Okay. So the D wants results. I told you that. Remember that. So when you're in front of them, to influence them, you have to give them options, right? You can't tell a D what to do. Right. They're not going to respond well to that. Right. So if you have an aggressive selling style and you come up against a D, you're going to just have a war on your hands. So if you give them options, that goes a long way because now they get to choose and they feel like they're in control.
True. With
the high influential person, they're all about the experience, being in the moment, having fun. So you, if you're not naturally that way, you've got to kind of ramp it up a bit. You've got to have fun with them. They're going to work with you because they see that it's going to be a great experience that they're motivated by.
Right.
The high steadiness person is motivated by security. Everything they do has to bring them more stability and security, especially for their family, if they happen to have a family. So whatever your solution is, it's got to bring them security. They have to be able to see that. And also in your sales presentation, you have to provide security, which means you don't rush the high steadiness person to a decision. We firmly believe that you can close people in one meeting. As a matter of fact, it's usually our desire because the longer payment is from the sales conversation, the less likely it's ever going to happen.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah. So the more meetings that have to take place, the less likely the deal is going to close. So
Wow.
I CEOs push a credit card across the desk to me to get started on a project because I helped them see the urgency that they had to solve the problem, or created that sense of urgency. So with an S though, don't try it. S's have to think about things. They have to process. You don't want to push them to a decision. You're going to break trust with them. So they're the person that's going to need multiple conversations with you. And then the high compliant person, they're all about information. Information is what makes them feel secure. So you have to give them enough information about your program or your solution or your product for them to be able to make a good decision.
That's amazing urgency. I always kind of wondered about that because, yes, I do remember some times that I had way too many meetings and it turned out going nowhere. And I was like, this doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I was like, this can't be normal. This is way too many meetings to try to close this one deal. I was like, something's not right. And that's funny you say that because I've experienced that. And I didn't realize the pattern there, which is, you know, and I'm glad you brought that to, our attention now. I
just want to address one thing. Because one of the most common objections in our industry, which is the coaching and consulting industry, is I don't have the money or I can't afford that.
Right.
And we really believe that everybody has the money. It is a belief of ours. What they don't have is a sense of urgency to solve their problem.
That's a good point there.
Everybody
that's true.
Can find the money for what they think is important. Everybody.
That is so true. I've done it. Everyone. Even the brokest person can do that. If they need a car, they come up with money to get them a car because they want a solution. They're tired of walking. So if a business tells you, if
they needed a kidney, they would find the money.
Yes,
so
exactly.
I've had women say no to our coaching services because I know they just spent $5,000 on soccer equipment for their children.
Yep.
So the question is, why is your kid's soccer camp more important than you growing your business?
Woo, boy, I tell you what. I can't talk to most women like that.
You'd be surprised how well it works.
Wow.
Because here's the thing. Nobody's asked them that question before.
Right.
Nobody has asked them that question before. And now they have to think about something they need to think about. And their answer may come up and say, it's not as important as my kid. Okay, that's great. But a lot of times it's, wow, I've never really thought about why I keep putting myself in the background like that.
Huh. So, wow. Wow. I don't know what happened there. Some people said, we can't see you, Lim, but maybe that's why, because my picture keeps going away. Who knows? But there I am, I believe. Anyway, I know you can see me, but I keep getting some messages saying we can't see you. And I'm like, okay, it's all right. We don't want to see me anyway. They see me all the time, you know. Let's see our guest. How long did it take you to, start putting all this formula together?
Oh, how long did it take? Well, I mean, your knowledge is always accumulative, right? So I learned about the disc styles way back in my first business.
Right.
The selling process that Chris and I created, we call it the I Help Selling System.
Right.
I would say we created it in the last 5 years, and then we just keep refining it. And it's based on really learning that questions were the way to have a conversation. Because if you're asking questions, you're never pressuring anybody to do anything. The only pressure someone's going to feel in the right sales conversation is their own internal pressure to solve their problem.
Wow, that's nice. That's nice. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've been talking to, Lim Moore here inside the Cup of Joe, and also with Nancy Roberts. This has been an amazing, powerful 30 minutes. I'm like, whoa, we've gotten to the middle of some stuff here, you know, which is good. And One more time, I'm going to show you myself. There we go. For those out there who are wondering where I'm at, I'm right here. I mean, I don't think it's not needed to see me because, you know, my guest is on here. We're talking to her. Wow. So I guess we're going to close right here. And I just want to hear from you, Nancy, is what is one more tip that you can give us to walk away with when we're trying to actually approach, when we're in a meeting, you know? I guess, you know, what I'm trying to ask you is when to close on those certain styles you were talking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so real quick, with the high dominant and the high influence person, they're both extroverted. They both make fast decisions. The D will make a fast calculated